Hey guys, today I'm going to do my best to use Super Mario World to explain depression. Track with me here, it'll all make sense. Hopefully. Let's start with the basics. In Super Mario World, running is a major gameplay mechanic. It's essential to many tasks and obstacles to be cleared throughout the game. It's also very necessary for secrets and other things that the game has to offer. Walking can be okay and sometimes needed, but it is not the primarily desired method of playing the game. When we're feeling good about life, we can navigate it fluidly. We can run, jump, and explore our world freely. We can avoid most undesirable obstacles, though we're prone to mistake and may get hit a few times along the way. It's okay though, we'll get back up again. For most people, sadness happens when they get hit or when they have to traverse a certain area where walking is probably better than running. Or maybe they go through a spell in life that seems off, and it lasts a while. This is like an underwater level where everything is slow and running isn't even an option. The good news is, all of these things I'm talking about are temporary. Better yet, all of the hits and the slowdowns, well, they can be explained by external causes, and so it makes them a lot easier to cope with. Depression isn't like this. Depression isn't sadness. It cannot be linked to external factors of the game like enemies, tricky terrain, water levels, or your own improper clicks. No, depression is playing Super Mario World without the ability to run. Now, to be fair, sometimes someone suffering from depression will have moments where they can run. However, these moments are unpredictable, can be few and far between, and they're not typically related to any predictable external factors. So there will be times when being able to run may come at an opportune moment, and other times where the ability to run is not present when you really needed it the most. For someone with depression, there are entire levels they will likely avoid to compensate for their lack of ability to run. They know what obstacles exist, and they know it is a high risk to approach these obstacles with only a hope that maybe they'll be able to run when they need to. The lack of consistent ability to run is also discouraging for a lot of folks. Sometimes these people eventually stop trying to run or even walk at all. They just stand at the start of the level and wait for time to expire. There are medicines designed to help with depression. In most cases, these medicines do grant the player the ability to run or have other special abilities. Unfortunately, a common side effect of this for many people is that they are now forced to constantly move forward. Whether they are thinking about it or not, or pressing the right arrow or not, they have to move forward. Oftentimes, if they're not careful, they'll find themselves in compromising situations or on the wrong path because they are in an odd autopilot mode. They can usually control whether or not they run or jump, but they are always, at the very least, walking forward. This constant forward momentum leads players in one of three directions. 1. Deal with the forward momentum and autopilot through the game. 2. Stop taking the medicine and go back to the original state of not being able to run. Or 3. Take excessive amounts of the medicine to get high. Now, getting high seems great at first. It makes the game much easier. You can run and glide and just enjoy everything up in the sky. There are usually very few obstacles, everything is easy. But unfortunately, when you come back down from your high, you often realize you missed the entire level. You see, life without obstacles and/or purpose can become jaded. Oftentimes, players start to wonder what they're missing. They become curious about the level design, and sometimes that's enough to make them want to skip the temptation of the power-up altogether. But it's very easy to become addicted to it and then never come down for more than a moment or two. So these players essentially just skip life, and they're really not much better off than the players who are standing at the start of the level waiting for the timer to run out. Now you might think all of this seems so dark and hopeless when we talk about it this way, and it is. If you look at depression from the perspective of a single-player campaign, there are only bad options. There is no getting over it, there are only patchwork solutions. You're destined to struggle throughout the entire game until you either somehow beat it, and you usually beat it with much suffering or apathy, or you just get a premature game over. And that's just how it is. If you only rely on yourself and medication, that is. This is where Yoshi comes in. When you ride Yoshi, you can run and walk freely. You can accomplish things you could never accomplish on your own. You see, Yoshi is your outside support helping indiscriminately. Yoshi comes in many forms. Yoshi can be a partner who is understanding. They are willing to take the fall for you to boost you up. They know it will hurt them far less than it would have hurt you, and they do it gladly. They can help you traverse tricky landscapes and walk over areas that would otherwise leave you hurt or immobilized or worse. Yoshi can also be seen in different forms of therapy. Therapists are a great help in knowing how to develop strategies to rationalize neurological imbalances. They can also safely disrupt the ground around you with professionally packaged brutal honesty. When you have these Yoshis around, you can begin to stomp the obstacles and enemies you are usually powerless against. Yoshi can also be that friend who helps you feel high without the need for drugs. They have a special connection with you which unlocks emotions and capabilities you just don't have on your own. When you're flying through the sky with a friend, suddenly it doesn't feel like you skipped the level. The other nice thing is, when you're getting high without drugs, you can more easily stay close to the ground and see everything you want while still keeping a safe distance. Lastly, there are the Yoshis that can spew fire in your honor. These Yoshis can take many forms: friends, lovers, colleagues, celebrities, or content creators, and the like. The thing which is unique about these Yoshis is you don't necessarily need to have a personal relationship with them for them to be useful. They can spew their fire far and wide and help clear a path for you when necessary. They aren't the most useful Yoshi, but they do have a purpose. The main trick here is to utilize all Yoshis whenever possible. Rotate them as well. You don't want to tire yourself or your Yoshis out or have an abusive relationship. Variety is key. It's important to point out, though, that not everything that seems like a Yoshi is a Yoshi. A therapist, friend, lover, whoever, they can be an outside support. However, if they do not help without discriminating against you or your condition, they are not a Yoshi. They might seem like a Yoshi, you may be able to ride them through some levels and obstacles, but don't be fooled. They are not a Yoshi, and they will not give you the support you need. And honestly, that's about it, guys. That's how Super Mario World can help explain depression. I hope this was helpful for some of you, or at least mildly entertaining. Now, just be sure to be safe out there, and I can't stress enough to remember to find your Yoshi if you are someone who suffers from depression or other mental illnesses. Or I should say, find your Yoshis, plural. You need different outlets. But until next time, I scheme, you scheme, we all scheme for ice cream. Goodbye.